Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the BTM channel, and in today's video we're going to be doing my start and sits for week 6 of the 2022 NFL season. Without further ado, let's get right into it. But before we get right into it, just quick disclaimer, these guys are kind of the notable fantasy guys that are going to be starting in most leagues. If I forget about a player, ask me in the comments section down below, and I'll answer your question whether you should start or sit them. Alrighty, so for game 1 of week 6, we got the Commanders versus the Bears. A very, very riveting game that everybody's looking forward to, I'm sure. Yeah, it's going to be a bad one. So my sits for this game is Carson Wentz, Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin, Darnell Mooney. Wentz has not been as hot. I don't think he's got to get hot against the Bears. Gibson clearly is getting his role kind of just, I mean, it's between like 3 different backs right now. So Gibson, you do not want to go to. Terry McLaurin, been very cold. I think you got to see something out of him before you start him. Darnell Mooney had that big catch last week. Had a big game 2 weeks ago, but again, still need to see some more from him. Starts, we got Curtis Samuel, David Montgomery. I mean, Curtis Samuel had an off week last week, but I expect him to get back. He's been very consistent. David Montgomery had a great week last week. I expect him to have another good week against this weakened Commanders defense. Next game we got is the Jaguars versus the Colts. This is another interesting one. We got, for the sits, we got James Robinson, Zay Jones. Zay Jones, still kind of seeing whether he's a reliable fantasy option. I think you got to sit him unless you have no other options. James Robinson clearly is kind of losing his role in that offense. Definitely would sit him. And then the starts, we got Christian Kirk coming off of a bad week. I think he's got bounced back. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., both those guys pretty self-explanatory. Again, all those guys are kind of coming off of bad weeks. But again, neither of these defenses have been nothing crazy. If anything, the Colts defense has been solid, but the pass defense hasn't been that great. So those are my starts for that game. We got is the Ravens versus the Giants. I like this game a lot. I do like this game a lot, but I don't like a lot of the players that are playing in this game. So sits for this game is Sterling Shepard, Rashad Bateman, J.K. Dobbins, Devin Duvernay. A lot of guys that are kind of on that fringe of being reliable. But this Giants defense has not played too bad. It really has not played too bad. And I think especially for J.K. Dobbins coming off of a really bad week last week, I think the Ravens are going to have to lean a little bit more to the pass. I do not like him. Bateman, we're still trying to see if this guy can fully catch the ball. He struggled with drops. He's had some on and off weeks. I do not like them in this game. And then the Giants, and then Devin Duvernay, again, we got to see more. But he has played consistent, so we'll see how he plays this week. And then Sterling Shepard, got to see a little bit more out of him. He's still not reliable in my books. Starts for Saquon Barkley, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews. Very simple. Don't need to explain it. Next game up, we got the Patriots versus the Browns. The sits for this game. There's no sits. Yes, there's no sits. I like this game. The starts, you got Ramondre Stevenson. He's got to eat. I love him this week. Pause. He's got to have a very good week here against the Browns. I don't think they don't have the best rushing defense, and Stevenson's a dog. He's a dog. Damian Harris is out. He's got to have a big week. I think you got to keep starting Jacoby Myers. He's played pretty consistent so far. Browns' pass defense has not looked that great, so I would definitely start Jacoby Myers. And then for the Browns, we got Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, and David Njoku. Nick Chubb, self-explanatory. You got to start him. Amari Cooper had a down week. I believe it was like 2 weeks ago, but I think he bounced back this last week, so Amari Cooper should be looking nice. And Njoku has been playing pretty well for a tight end. So if you need a tight end, I would recommend picking up or trading for Njoku for sure. Next game up, we got the Bengals. Please just get a freaking win versus the Saints. I only got one sit for this game. Otherwise, most of these guys you got to start every week. So my sits for this game is Joe Burrow. It's Saints. The Bengals offense has looked kind of on and off. Who knows if they're going to get that passing game fully going, and even if it does, how high is that ceiling for this game? I think the Saints pass defense is decent enough to where it can slow Burrow down a little bit. But the starts are, obviously, you got to start your stars. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. You're starting all those guys every week. And so for the notice, of course, Michael Thomas, if he is back, he was obviously playing really well before that injury. Alvin Kamara just finally had a good game. should, see something. I would say be careful with Kamara, though. Temper your expectations. The Bengals' run defense has been pretty solid, so be careful with Kamara, though. And then Chris Olave, again, another hot player. I think you got to keep starting Olave. Next game up, we got the 49ers versus the Falcons. My starts for this game are Deebo Samuel and Jeff Wilson. Both those guys been playing very good. Deebo, obviously, you're going to keep playing. Jeff Wilson been playing very well, especially against this Falcons rushing defense. He's going to have a big week. My sits are George Kittle, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London. George Kittle, Kyle Pitts, I got to see something out of y'all before I say, yes, you guys should start these guys. I just can't trust them right now, and I don't think you guys should trust them. And then Drake London, I think this is just a tough defense to play against the 49ers. So this Falcons offense, I just don't see doing much at all. Game up, we got the Buccaneers versus the Steelers. This is a very interesting game, but it is pretty funny. My starting sits for this game. The sits for me is Najee Harris, Pat Freiermuth, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson. Again, obviously Pickens has been pretty hot lately. Deontay Johnson, he hasn't been as hot. But this Buccaneers defense, I still think is elite. I think some of the games they've had recently have kind of shown otherwise, but I still think against the Steelers offense, they're not going to have much going for them. So the entire Steelers offense, I would just sit. And then my starts are Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette. Steelers defense has not looked fantastic. I mean, we saw what Buffalo did to them last week, so I think most guys on the Buccaneers is a pretty good start. Game, is the Vikings versus the Dolphins. My sits for this game is Adam Thielen, Jalen Waddle, two guys that kind of been on and off. Jalen Waddle had kind of 2 or 3 down weeks in a row, and again, we kind of got to see some more production before we say, yeah, start this guy. I think Waddle, and plus they have their QB situation is very bad. So, I mean, you would be risking it with Jalen Waddle in a lot of ways. So, because Bridgewater's out and Tua's out. So, yeah, I would not start the Jalen Waddle, especially. Starts for this game, Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill. Dalvin Cook, he ate last week. Expect that again. Kirk Cousins playing the Dolphins. I feel like it could be high scoring. But at the same time, temper your expectations because the Dolphins quarterback is the third string quarterback. So, just temper your expectations. Justin Jefferson, you're starting. Tyreek Hill, you're starting. Again, you might not be starting Jalen Waddle, but Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill. Next game, we got the Jets versus the Packers. My sits for this game are Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, he just has not shown much fantasy-wise. You got to keep sending him. Garrett Wilson, I think, again, had that really big week, and then he's kind of fallen off a cliff ever since then, so I would sit him. And then my starts for this game is Breece Hall, Aaron Jones, Dobbs, and Allen Lazard. Aaron Jones, I think, is going to have a good bounce-back game here against the Jets defense. You don't got to watch out for much in that Jets defense. Breece Hall came off a big game. It was finally his breakout game. Wish I drafted him in more leagues. But, yeah, you got to start Breece Hall almost every week from now on. Romeo Dobbs, Allen Lazard. Both of them are, I think one of them could have a monster game. It's just kind of, one of them's got to do really well. So I think both of them are smart starts. If not, both of them might have pretty good days. 13, 14-point games I would expect from those two. Next game we got is the Panthers versus the Rams. Two very sluggish teams right now. My sits for this game is DJ Moore, Allen Robinson, and Matthew Trashford. I would sit these guys just purely based off of performance so far. You haven't seen much out of them. Some of their QB situations, well, obviously Trashford, he has not shown much. Allen Robinson has not gotten many targets, and DJ Moore is still, again, on the Panthers. So he's his ceiling is pretty low, I would say. The starts for this game, though, are Christian McCaffrey, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee, all of them. Great targets. Christian McCaffrey, rushing yard. I mean, you're starting those guys every week. Higbee's been very, very nice. I expect that to continue. Next game up, we got the Cardinals versus the Seahawks. I like this game a lot, fantasy-wise, yes, sir. Sits for this game is James Conner, one of the biggest fantasy busts so far this year. Starts for this game, Marquise Brown, Kyler Murray, Zach Ertz, Rondale Moore, Geno Smith, Kenneth Walker, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. I think two bad defenses and two, so far, not too bad of offenses. So I expect this to be a high-scoring affair here. Game up, we got Bills versus Chiefs. This is definitely the best game of the week for sure, without a doubt. Sits for this game are Dawson Knox, Devin Singletary, Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Most of them have not shown much. Devin Singletary, he's shown a little bit of upside, and I think if you need a running back, you know, you could start Devin Singletary, but I don't think he's the best option. And then for the starts, we got Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Pretty much all the star power. You got to start him. I would be careful on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, though, but I think he will find the end zone in another game I expect to be high scoring. Next game we got is the Cowboys versus the Eagles. My sits for this game is Dalton Schultz, Ezekiel Elliott, and Miles Sanders. I expect this game to be a passing affair just all around. So the two running backs automatically for me are out. Dalton Schultz might be hurt, and he just hasn't obviously been able to show much. So I think until we get a sample of what he's got to do this year, I think you sit him. And then my starts for this game is CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown. Again, a bunch of guys that have produced, and I expect to continue producing. A.J. Brown had a down week last week. I believe Devontae Smith might have too. But I expect that to, come back in this game, which I expect to honestly be a pretty high-scoring affair. It's got to be a good game for sure, though. Next game up, we got the Broncos versus the Chargers. My sits for this game are Russell Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, and Gerald Everett. Gerald Everett, I think his high-scoring fantasy is not going to continue. I think it was kind of a fluke. I do not expect that to continue. Jerry Jeudy hasn't shown a ton yet. Still waiting to see. But I could see him sneaking into your lineup, but I would still sit him. And then Russell Wilson has clearly not shown anything that would make me confident in starting him. And then my starts for this game are Melvin Gordon, Courtland Sutton, Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler. Pretty much all stars. You're going to start all those guys. Melvin Gordon, though, probably not considered a star, but I think in this game, Broncos could, if they get rolling, I think he could find the end zone in this game. And so, yeah, that is the starts for Week 6. Let me know any other players that I might have missed or anything you would change. And without further ado, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.